Welcome to the What's Happening Birmingham video podcast.
Hello everyone, this is Jarvis S. Scott with What's Happening Birmingham. Today I have the honor and pleasure. This is a guy I wanted to bring on the podcast. Very inspirational story. I want to first start off by saying congratulations on making top 40 on the 40 this year.
I appreciate it. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yes, for many, you probably already know him. For those who don't know him, his name is Jason Burroughs, and he is the owner of C&B Transportation Systems, but he's also an author with his new book, In Transit, From Moving Boxes to Moving Souls. That is a very inspirational title.
Yeah, no, so it just kind of just talks about my journey of going from, just like helping people in the community, being a social advocate, helping, those who are at risk, incarcerated, and then how, I kind of developed the vision for, my trucking company.
Okay, so, I always like to do before we start the podcast, give people a little background information. Did you grow up in Birmingham?
Yeah, so I'm from Birmingham. I'm originally from Brighton, moved to Bessemer, moved to 280, so kind of from all over, ended up graduating from Oak Mountain High School. End up, kind of just doing my own thing. Did a little bit of college here and there, but school wasn't always my thing, and so ended up going into working at moving companies. Okay. It was kind of like my little hustle. Okay. And so started out working at moving companies until I said, you know what, I can own my own moving company. And so ended up starting my moving company and started my entrepreneurial journey. Okay, and then how did you come up with the name, was it C&B? C&B Transportation. So C&B Transportation was just carrier and broker transportation. So okay. I wanted to, be able to, be a carrier, for carriers and for, brokers as well. All right, so if you all have read the story about him in Birmingham Times, and also it's also reprinted at AL.com, let's kind of start back 4 years ago. That was like a major time in your personal and business life. Let's go from there. Yeah, it was the pandemic. Stuff was crazy. So, like I said, I have a moving company, and so my moving company was booked, for a good part of March and April. And then the pandemic hit. I saw tumbleweeds fly across my calendar. Oh, wow. And I ended up getting furloughed from my position at the Dana Project, where I was an instructor, teacher. I did a lot of Campus Hope stuff. Mm-hmm. And so I'm basically sitting at home trying to figure out, okay, like what's the next thing I'm going to do? And so I remember at my time at the Dana Project, we would put them into pathways, for careers. Mm-hmm. And so one thing that I saw was that CDL was one of the few jobs to where people could make a livable wage. And so, knowing that essential business had kind of came down, where they said, these are the essential businesses, you can start back, going to work. So with that, I knew that, it was an essential business. Mm-hmm. It was a business model where, people can make $70,000, $80,000, $90,000, $100,000 a year, mm-hmm. a great livable wage. And so, I just decided to start the trucking company. Oh, that's really good. And I see you started at age 26. Yeah, so I started my moving company at age 26. So that's able-bodied moving and delivery. And so, I still have it to this day. We do more kind of commercial moves than residential. But so I started my moving company at 26 and then started C&B Transportation in 2020. Okay, so I'm kind of looking through the article. It said, they said 8 years later, the life and business he had worked hard to build was crumbling before your eyes. He had business contract, I know about that, go south. Yeah. So, so basically the contract that I had, the work had kind of, it kind of dried up, so to speak, because they end up losing some of their manufacturers and distributors, and so it was just a whole, downstream effect, typically, how logistics work, right? And so my contract went left. At the time, I was doing, stuff all throughout the Southeast. We were doing appliance and delivery installations.
Okay.
So I had, I was all throughout the Southeast, man. I had, 10 to 15 box trucks any given week, running guys. I had 20 to 30 guys, and it all came crumbling down, and it was a very humbling moment.
So when you mention box trucks, people who don't know that distinction. What is box trucks?
So a box truck is like a moving van,
okay.
or a truck that has the box van on the
okay.
back side of it. So typically those are like 24 to 26 feet box trucks.
Okay. And then you said, like, going back, you said your marriage was going through some problems and some issues.
Yeah, so at the time we were going through a divorce, and it was just a difficult transition, and so sometimes when two people don't get along, it's kind of hard to be cohabitated. So it is what it is.
Yeah, I know. It's like, man, this important part of the article. You say you moved out into the garage with spiders, roaches, and centipedes.
Yeah. So, hey, look, man, you got to find peace however you can.
Okay.
And so for me, I'm not a big conflict person, and so I'd rather be alone in silence than, have to be, somewhere, in disagreement with somebody. And so, that's all it was. It was, a place to find peace of mind.
Yeah, the reason I bring that up because at that point you was listening to a lot of motivational videos from speakers, Eric Thomas.
Yeah, Eric Thomas, man, he helped me kind of break out of my funk and depression. I remember I was listening to one of his YouTubes, and he was just basically saying, when you want to succeed as much as you want your next breath, then you will succeed. And so, it just kind of resonated with me. And so, I would listen to his videos, and he would kind of just, I literally had to listen to his videos to get up out of bed in the morning and, really put myself in a position to, continue on and try and figure out this thing that was entrepreneurship.
So how did you take, because a lot of times, like I see it, like you said, people get inspired. How did you put that faith into action? Like, how did you let them, I'm not saying action steps, but a lot of times people look at motivational videos and they get motivated, but you still got to do something.
No, for sure. I've always been a doer,
okay.
and so that the action part wasn't hard for me. I think it was more so just, finding the motivation again.
Mm-hmm.
I had been beat up, and it's kind of like, you can love something, but you can be tired. It's like, I love basketball, right? But like, you done played 3 hours, like, somebody be like, you gonna run again? You're like, I'm straight, I'm all right, and that's kind of how it was. I was tired, and so I had to just kind of like, rebuild my strength and confidence, and just revise my vision.
Okay, and since then, that was a complete 180, 360 for you. Like the article mentioned, you was able to get like tier 1 contracts. You got a contract with Consolidated Pipe and Supply. So tell me, what's a tier 1 contract for people who don't know that?
So tier 1 contracts are when you're the master contractor. So
okay.
that means you're not getting it, from a second party. So that
you're
means,
not a sub.
So you're not a subcontractor.
Okay.
Exactly. Yes, sir.
All right, and then from there, you set up a logistics company.
Yeah, Sky Blue Logistics. So I own a freight brokerage as well, and so basically I act as the intermediary between shippers and carriers.
Oh, that's very neat. And then since then, like you said, you got 5 businesses. I like the first one, 3 levels of game.
3 levels of game. It's my digital marketing firm.
Okay.
Shout out to my business partner Nick Walton.
Okay.
So yeah, we kind of started that back in 2020 as well. So 2020 was a pivotal moment, and I just began, I read a scripture in the Bible where it said invest in 7, 8 ventures because you don't know which one will prosper. And so I made some investments.
Yeah, tell me this scripture. I gotta find that one.
Yeah.
And then I like the name Coach Jason Cultivates.
Yeah. So I got the name Coach Jason when I was at the Danny Project.
Okay.
And so I was, a mentor and a coach, and so everybody, kind of just started calling me Coach Jason. And so one of my core beliefs is on personal development. And so, I've always tried to cultivate myself. And so, just wanted to be able to share the life lessons and the things that I've learned and helping others cultivate themselves.
Now, there's a new foray called the Magic City Joint Venture.
Yes. So I am one of the key personnel in putting together the Magic City Joint Venture. I work closely with Victor Brown from the Birmingham Business Alliance, and it's just basically because smaller companies have a hard time competing against, institutional big companies for those tier 1 contracts. So what we ended up doing was we put together the Magic City Joint Venture, where it was several minority-owned, women-owned businesses where we are able to work together, collaborate, and that gives us more capability and utility as a whole.
Okay. So, Jason, what's one of the things I always like to do, bring people on my podcast, is I kind of think of like open mastermind group where we talk about some ideas you may say privately or publicly, but some questions I always want to ask, and just talk about him, and you was kind of speaking on the last thing to talk about is, what was your biggest bought business lesson? What I mean bought is like, spent money on it, it just didn't work out, but you learned a valuable business lesson out of it.
For sure. I got a mentor named JC. He always say, you bought you some sense, that boy. So I would say I bought a property that I was trying to flip back in 2020 during the pandemic, and it was difficult to say the least. Trying to invest in new ventures, and so it was difficult. I bought myself a lot of sense.
Okay.
For sure.
Now, like you going back, you said you got multiple businesses. A lot of times I think a lot of people like to say we want to have multiple businesses, but like, I know it's only 24 hours in a day.
For sure.
So when it came to expanding and getting other businesses, what formula? Because for me viewing this, like I feel like it all falls under your umbrella. So it's like one thing rolls over to another. It's not like something where, say I have a restaurant business and I got a carpentry company, you plumbing,
So so for me the most important thing was team building.
Okay.
I've got some good business partners. I've got operations managers. I've got a lot of back-end support. And so really building my team, and then, just building out my systems and processes, setting my SOPs, and, understanding what my KPIs are, key performance indicators. And so, really just building the business. A lot of times as entrepreneurs, we can work in the business, but not be working on the business. And so, that's as we talk. We were talking about buying some sense. That was a bought lesson. Trying to be everything, and so learning to put people in places to where they can help me.
Okay, and another thing too, when it came to like pricing, I always tell people this, that how much you charge for your goods and services can help you, but can also hurt you. So how did you come up with your pricing model for your services, especially when you got back and started in trucking and things like that?
Yeah, so with trucking, your pricing model is somewhat dictated by the market, right? And so if you're working off of load boards and where like the brokers, they'll put all the loads on there. And so, typically, they may not pay as much. So it's really you knowing your numbers and saying like, hey, I'm not gonna go below this, So if your number is, hey, $3 a mile, that's as low as I go. So when you're negotiating, when you're bidding, you gotta know your numbers.
Okay, and also too, I want to mention, like when it came to your certifications, did you do it, I guess when you first got started, did you research a lot of the certifications you need, or did you reach out with some organizations that kind of helped you get?
Yeah, so I knew a little bit about it. Like I said, I had a moving company, so I had been in transportation for 10 years, so I knew the licensing and different things that I was going to need. But as far as just continuing on and being around other business owners and entrepreneurs, people who were, further ahead than me, giving me game and helping me, I quickly found that, a lot of these different certifications open doors for you. So I just wanted to make sure that I put myself in the best opportunity possible.
So now to the book. Give me the process how you came about putting it together.
So man, it was interesting. So I was, at the time, I had been nominated for Top 40 Under 40. I wasn't a honoree or winner at that particular point. And so I wanted to do something, you know, kind of centered around this moment, kind of commemorate this moment. And a good friend of mine, who's also my publisher, you know, was like, hey, we need to commemorate this moment, like, you know. And so he got with me and we sat down and he kind of helped me write the book. And it's just interesting the way the story turned out because I was actually getting ready to do a logistics pitch for the Inclusive Procurement Council. Okay. And so I ended up getting news that my uncle had passed. Okay. Literally, as I know, yeah. So as that was going on, so that was like this, it was like this narrative between, like, you know, family and real life stuff. And then, you know, I still got business and entrepreneurship going on. And so that's kind of how I developed the story in transit. Just, you know, a man kind of grasping with, you know, these two different worlds that are colliding. And so, yeah, that's pretty much how the book came to be.
Okay, I'm going to say this too. This is a quick read.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And one thing I like about Jason was when he was at the Top 40 Under 40 celebration, I attended it. He was giving them out. I was like, that's a clever marketing strategy. With all these top newsmakers, CEOs, like, hey, I'm Top 40 Under 40, but here's my book.
Yeah. So, so like I said, so just honestly, you know, it was an opportunity. I wanted people to kind of get to know me. So as I go into a lot of these pitches and different things for business, you know, you got an elevator pitch. You got 30 seconds to sell yourself and make a great impression, right? And you know, most people, they sell themselves in that 30 seconds and then they hand somebody a business card. So I was like, well, I'm gonna be at Top 40. You know, I wrote this book. I'm gonna be in front of, you know, some of the most influential people in the city. Why don't I sow a seed and, you know, give my book to, you know, all of the honorees and people, you know, that were there to support. And so, you know, just an opportunity for people to kind of get to know me and my story, and hopefully they see a little bit of themselves in there.
Yes, and I told him I feel so bad because he gave me the book that night and I misplaced it.
He lost it.
All the stuff that's going on. All the things that's going on. So if they want to get a copy of the book, where they go?
So you can go to my website. It's on my website, Coach Jason Cultivate. So we're actually in the pre-launch. And so in about 30 days, I'll be on Amazon and all of the other major aggregates.
Okay, well.
So follow me on social media, and I'll let everybody know when the book drops.
Okay, so any final thoughts you want to tell the audience?
Yeah, I'll say one quote that I always tell people: success is when you cultivate value inside of yourself. Significance is when you cultivate value inside of someone else.
Oh, wow. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. You know, last question, I promise. I always like to ask this: what keeps you up at night?
What keeps me
up? What comes to business?
Man, sometimes my drivers call me in the middle of the
night.
Oh, well, that's good. They broke down. That's what keep me up.
That's good time.
Otherwise, I'm asleep. Hey.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, Jason, thank you for coming on, brother.
I appreciate it, man. Mr. Birmingham.
Oh, man, I have nobody. Actually, this is probably one of my first interviews that in a while that I've done, kind of like sit down. Yeah. That I've been in front of the camera, so you all gonna get a couple more of these soon. You know, I gotta get on a couple of these CEO schedules. You know, when the schedule.
Real quick, most people don't know, man. Me and you go way back, like 10 years back to Wells Fargo Towers.
Oh well, yeah. Oh man, yes.
You was working in that little tiny office. Yeah. We was, you know, we was in that grind and trying to come up. So it's good to see you doing well.
Well, I'm proud of you too, man. Like I tell people, you know, entrepreneurship is it's a journey. It's not no destination. You're going to have your ups, you're going to have your downs, you're going to have to pivot many times. Sure. One thing we learned 4 years ago that don't be relying on one set of income, always have something else going on at all times. But thank you all for watching. Please check out what'shappenedbirmingham.com for more interviews. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel and check out the audio version of this on Apple Podcasts. And you hear the sound in the background. My boy Troy is Washington. Great clothing person. He don't know I'm doing a shout out.
Shout out to Cotton Building down here in Ensley.
Yes, so that's where we are. Yeah. Thank you all again. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching the What's Happening Birmingham video podcast. Please check out our website, app, or subscribe to our YouTube channel for the latest videos today.